Good afternoon. عددنا قليل جدا النهاردة. only 3. طيب يلا عشان غيرت الميعاد طبعا. بصوا ال first question was solved the previous time. The scientific name for the golden eagle is Aquila مش عارف ايه ده بقى ده. What is the genus of the golden eagle? يمنى.
إيه.
ايه. Which row shows structures that are present in both root hair cells and palisade mesophyll. مش عارفة سجيم بتخرج كل شوية. مريم.
سي.
Okay. The photomicrograph shows a plant cell. The length of XY is 90 centimeters. The actual length is 30 millimeters, and this is micrometers. Calculate the magnification, Michelle.
So convert the millimeter to micrometer.
Mhm.
90 divided by 1,000.
Divided by?
1,000.
You divide when you convert millimeter to micrometer. Which one is the bigger and which one is the smaller?
Oh, sorry. Times 1,000.
Take care because many students make this mistake and you get it wrong. Okay, this is the image size. What is the magnification? What are you going to do?
So it will be image over actual.
Okay, this
90
will give
over 30. We'll give 3,000, so B.
3,000, yes. The diagram shows an experiment demonstrating osmosis using a dialysis tubing bag. Okay, and there is a sugar solution inside the bag. After 30 minutes, the level of the liquid maram in the glass tube goes.
It goes up, so the answer is C or D.
Okay, which one is correct?
Okay, because the water had the water had a high water potential, so the answer
Yes,
is D.
yes. The diagram shows the movement of glucose molecules across a cell membrane. Which statement describes T? يعني here there is a high concentration and a low concentration, and this is T. فالجلوكوز moves from low to high concentration. So what is T, Anud?
It says a protein molecule that's used to transport glucose against the concentration
Yes,
band.
against طبعا. ده الكارير بروتين يا جماعة اللي هو بيبقى used in active transport. The diagram shows part of a protein molecule. What does X represent? Sajim.
Amino acid.
Amino acid, yes. The structure of DNA involves two strands coiled together to form a double helix. Which pairing of bases between the two strands is correct? Maram.
B.
B, yes. What is true of all enzymes? Mariam? All.
D.
D, yes. Which statement about human enzymes is correct when they are at temperatures above 80? Yumna?
A.
A, yes. An experiment is set up to investigate gas exchange in aquatic plants. It's only an aquatic plant without a snail. معهوش حاجة. And this is hydrogen carbonate indicator solution. Light is coming from one side. Okay. The hydrogen carbonate indicator solution is orange at the start. Which color is after 3 hours? Maram?
Is it C?
Yes, because the plant will use the carbon dioxide, so it decreases. So it is C. Certain factors are needed for photosynthesis. If a factor is in short supply, it limits the rate of photosynthesis. Which of these could be limiting factors? Mariam?
Carbon dioxide and light intensity.
And light intensity. Okay. طبعا the third one is ايه يا مريم? The third limiting factor is I cannot hear you. What is the third limiting factor? Sajim?
Temperature.
Temperature, yes. The hemoglobin concentration in the blood of a person is 80 grams per decimeter cubed. The accepted normal concentration is 120 or above. Which substance may be lacking, Yumna?
B.
ليه B?
D.
D. قلت lacking fats. نعمل ايه بالفاتس؟ Which statement about physical digestion is correct? Yes, Michelle.
A.
A طبعا. Physical طبعا is the same as mechanical digestion يا جماعة. زي مثلا chewing and things like that. Which statement describes the effect of atmospheric humidity on the rate of transpiration? Anud?
C.
Yes, very good. Sucrose and amino acids move around a plant from sources to sinks. Which row shows the sources and sinks? Sajim.
A.
A, yes. الباليسيد cells يا جماعة can never be a sink. Okay, it's always a source. تمام. والزايلم طبعا ولا ده ولا ده. Which statements describe how the structures in the circulatory system function? Maran.
Okay, so one is correct and
Mhm.
two is also correct.
Yes.
So the answer could be A or B.
Mhm.
Um, Doctor, is it B?
بس ايه بيقول لي هنا in number 3 veins to take the blood away from the heart. Does
Yeah,
a vein do this?
yeah, because it's asking about like the circulatory system.
ايوه طيب
So
اوكي هما الفينز do they take the blood away from the heart?
no, but only
No.
the pulmonary vein. So
No, the pulmonary vein, it takes the blood to the heart.
oh. Yeah. So is it B?
B طبعا لأن هنا vessels, they didn't mention which vessels to return the blood to the heart. These vessels are the veins.
Okay.
The diagram shows a section through the heart. Which part is the septum? Michelle?
C.
Yes. The cholera bacterium toxin causes dehydration and loss of salts from the blood in humans. Which statement explains the reason for this, Yumna?
B.
Secreted into the small intestine. Yes. During inspiration, the processes listed take place. What is the correct sequence for these processes, Mariam? And I repeat again, when you solve such questions, you have to be careful when you're arranging the sentences.
Doctor, you can hear me, صح?
Yes, يا حبيبتي تفضل.
Okay. It's B.
Very good. In the chemical equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast, the numbers have been replaced by letters W, X, Y, and Z. Which number is Z, Maram?
B.
B, yes. C2H5OH. A student measured their oxygen consumption before, during, and after exercise. The results are shown in the graph. And here the time in minutes. Okay. At which time is the oxygen debt being removed? Anud?
Miss, is it C?
It is C, yes, it is being removed, not completely removed. Yani here it will be completely removed, but here it is still being removed. Yes, very good. Which row shows where glucose will be found in the body of a healthy human after eating a meal? Mariam?
C.
Glomerulus, nephron. No, yes. Very good. The events listed involve neurotransmitter molecules at a synapse. Again, arrange. What is the sequence of events that occur when an impulse arrives at the synapse, Sajim?
D.
Yes. What occurs during accommodation to focus on distant objects, Michelle?
C.
Take care. They are looking at distant objects. So the eye lens must be thinner and longer, not fat.
So then D.
D.
No. D.
This one? D.
I
You
think
mean,
it's
how can the lens be thin and longer when the suspensory ligament slackens or tightens?
it tightens.
It tightens, a B and not D. What is a correct statement about auxin in shoot, Sanud?
B.
B,
No, Miss, D.
D, okay. What is a correct statement about antibiotics, Maram?
Bacteria may become resistant to antibiotics as a result of natural selection.
Yes. Potatoes are stem tubers. A tuber can be placed in the ground to grow into another plant, which can grow many more tubers. The diploid number of the potato is 24. How many chromosomes will there be in the cells of the stem, the leaf, and the pollen? Yumna?
A.
A, yes, correct. Which row about asexual reproduction is correct, Mariam?
B.
طبعا. The statements describe how a protein is made. Anud. يا حبيبة, you're so late. Yes, Anud. Number 30.
C.
Number C. طب, can you give me another answer? Because C is not correct. Protein synthesis.
D, Miss.
D, yes. Both of them begin by 3. Like, and D is the correct answer. Which parents could produce offspring with blood group O? Mariam.
Is it A?
Yes, because both of them have to be heterozygous. As we can see, they are blood group A and B, but the last one, homozygous A with O, it will give A and not O. The diagram shows the inheritance of albinism in one family. Albinism is an inherited condition caused by a recessive allele. And here is the key. Which individuals must be heterozygous for this condition? I will ask Sajim.
Five, 6, and 7.
Yes, very good. Which term is a genetic change? Yumna.
C.
Bravo. Which adaptation may be present in a xerophyte? Maram.
C.
Yes. The diagram shows energy flow from the sun through a food chain and into the environment. What is the form of energy for each numbered arrow? Michelle?
C.
Bravo. A few yeast cells were placed in a container of nutrient solution. The graph shows how the population size changed over time. Which row shows when the reproduction rate was greater than the death rate for the numbered phases on the graph? Mariam.
1 and 2 only for B.
B, yes. The number of Atlantic bluefin tuna fish found in the Atlantic Ocean has significantly decreased in the last 50 years. Which method would make the biggest improvement in the conservation of tuna fish stocks? Anud.
A.
Decreasing the size of holes in fishing nets. Do you know that tuna fish is a very large fish? Can you try another one, please? Conservation. Conservation. Not
Introducing
fish farms. Yes, not fish farms. Okay. The bloodworm is an organism that's found in heavily polluted water. The diagram shows where raw sewage flows into a river. Where would there be fewest bloodworms, Maram?
A.
At 8 طبعا. The diagram shows a bacterial cell. Which part is useful in genetic modification, Hala?
D.
Yes. Why were you late, ya Hala?
Sorry, Miss, my internet is really bad.
I noticed. Which statement about genetic modification is correct, Yumna?
C.
Yes, very good. Recombinant plasmid. Okay, let's try another past paper. Which process occurs both in plants and in animals? Michelle,
A.
number A, excretion. Okay, what's wrong? Some statements about species are given. Which statements are correct, Mariam?
D.
Yes. Which structures are found in the cells of all living organisms, Yumna?
C.
Yes. In the diagram of the palisade cell, the distance between X and Y is 20 millimeters. The actual width of the cell is 40 micrometers. Anud, how can you get the magnification? Again.
20 times 1,000.
Yes.
It's going to be 20,000 divided by 40. It's going to be 500.
500. Okay. The diagram shows a root hair cell. When does water enter the cell by osmosis? Hala, when?
It enters the cell when the water potential outside the cell is higher than inside the cell. D.
Yes, very good. Which row shows the changes that occur during a germination of a seed? And I will ask Sajid.
D.
Yes. The diagram shows the human alimentary canal. In which structure is most glucose absorbed into the blood, Michelle?
C.
Bravo. DNA contains pairs of bases. Which pair show a correct combination of bases? Again, it is repeated in a different, the variant. Okay, يبقى we will see similar questions. طيب, مرام?
B.
Yes. In which region of the alimentary canal is maltose digested? عنود? Digested.
Small intestine.
Yes. The graph shows the effect of temperature on activity, enzyme activity. This enzyme has an optimum temperature at 30 degrees Celsius. Which graph shows the effect of temperature on the activity of this enzyme? طبعا حلا.
D.
Yes. طبعا this is a typical graph for the effect of temperature on the enzyme activity. The diagram shows a leaf on a plant used in photosynthesis experiment. At the start of the experiment, there is no starch in the leaf. A piece of black paper is attached to the upper surface of the leaf. The plant is placed in bright light for 12 hours. 4 discs are then cut from the leaf in the positions shown in the diagram. The discs are tested for starch. Which disc contains starch? Maram?
Disc A.
Disc A, yes. The graph shows the effect of temperature on the rate of photosynthesis. Which statement explains the change in the rate of photosynthesis between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius? Yomna?
C.
Kinetic energy of molecules increasing, yes. The lack of which component of a balanced diet will lead to the development of scurvy? مريم, الأسئلة دي حلوة.
فيتامين سي.
ما فيهاش مشاكل. بس لسه يعني it's number 13. هو عادة paper 2 يا جماعة بتبقى very easy يعني, بس take care لأن you have to read all the choices carefully in order to choose the more أو the most correct answer, لأن sometimes there is a correct and a more correct answer. Which structure is the duodenum? حلا.
C.
Number?
C.
C, yes. Humidity and wind speed are 2 factors that affect the rate of transpiration. How does these 2 factors affect the concentration gradient of water molecules between the inside of the leaf and the outside atmosphere? طبعا هو هنا بيقول concentration of water molecules because it's transpiration. بيقصدوا بيها طبعا water vapor. I will ask Anud.
Miss, when they're talking about lowering the concentration gradient, are they talking about the amount of water outside the leaf?
Lowering the concentration gradient? لا, it means that the amount of water vapor, not water, outside the leaf is nearly equal or very near to the amount of water vapor inside. عشان كده
So
في low concentration gradient. يبقى ايه؟
yes. Letter A.
A, yes, very good. During an investigation into the movement of substances in a plant, a ring of tissue containing the outer part of the transport tissue is removed as shown. The transport tissue. Which statement explains why a swelling develops in the stem? Maram.
Is it A?
A, yes, very good. The diagram shows the human heart. Which label shows the left ventricle? I will ask Yumna.
B.
Number B. Which row shows the features of an artery or a vein? Anud?
C.
Argentine, okay. Cholera bacteria in the gut cause secretion of chloride ions, which leads to diarrhea. Which diagram shows the correct movement of chloride ions and water? Hala?
Um, C.
Number C. You said C.
Yes.
طيب هو الكلورايد ions, where do they come from? From the blood, okay, to enter the lumen. This will create a low water potential. This low water potential is lower than the water potential of the blood. So where will the water move? From the lumen to the blood ولا from the blood to the lumen? Passing طبعا على ال small intestine itself. The water potential of the blood is higher than inside the lumen when chloride ions are released into the lumen. Where will the water move? From where to where? Yes, Hala, you didn't give me an answer.
B.
B
عشان
طبعا.
they both get out
انت
of
ليه من
the
الصبح؟ I'm waiting for you to answer. طبعا الووتر must follow يا حلا. اوكي عشان بتبقى دايما of a higher water potential in the blood فبتدخل على اليومن طبعا. Different stages in the process of expiration are listed. What is the correct order of these stages, Iman? Why were you late يا إيمان؟
I had a class. I'm
طيب
sorry.
طيب يا حبيبتي. I know that I have changed the timing of the session. مشكلة عندي أنا. طيب يلا يا إيمان. What's the correct order?
الأول 4
Mhm.
وبعدين 1. It's D.
G. Okay. طبعا ال diaphragm has nothing to do with the ribs. يعني هو ال external intercostal muscles when they relax هو اللي بيأثر يعني في ال expiration. Which row shows aerobic respiration? Michelle. دي yes. بصوا خلي بالكم أي حد هيبص على دي يقول هي دي. لا. This is oxygen. This is carbon dioxide. In which organ is lactic acid respired aerobically to remove an oxygen debt? يمنى.
Liver.
Liver. The diagram shows a cross-section of a kidney. Yes, Ajim. What are the correct names for structures P, Q, and R?
B.
تمام. Which statement describes what happens during the transmission of an electrical impulse along a reflex arc? And I will ask Mariam.
It's A.
Very good. During the pupil reflex in bright light, what describes the actions of the muscles in the iris, Anud?
Circular muscles contract and pili muscle relax.
Yes. Which distribution of auxin will cause the shoot tip to grow towards light? Hala.
D.
Yes. Okay. What is an advantage of asexual reproduction in a wild population, Maran?
The population can increase rapidly when the conditions are suitable.
تمام.
B.
The diagram shows the structure of part of a flower. The arrows represent the transfer of pollen. Which statement about the arrow is correct, Mariam?
Is it C?
Yes. In a sperm cell, which structure contains enzymes that can digest the jelly coat of an egg cell? Michelle?
Acrosome.
Acrosome, yes. The following are involved in protein synthesis. In which order do they become involved when proteins are made? Yumna.
C.
Number C. Yes, correct. A man of genotype IA-IO and a woman of genotype IB-IO have a child. What is the chance that the child would have the same blood group as one of its parents? Sajim. One of its parents. احنا لازم كده we have to try it out. مش كده؟ ولا you can know. مش عايزاكم تعملوها كده mentally. لازم أجربها يا جماعة. Okay, I will try it here. IAIO and IBIO. gametes. Okay, Punnett square. ليلي بقى يا سجيم. IAIO IBIO. What are you going to write in the first box?
IAB.
Yes, IB, but I will write AB بس عشان الbox is very small. طيب, what about the second cross or the
B.
second result? Blood group B. Okay, but heterozygous طبعا. What about the third?
A.
A, and the last one?
O.
O. طيب, can you give me an answer, please?
50%.
50% طبعا. طيب بس هنا هو كاتبها بال other probability, other method of writing the probability. ف which one are you going to choose?
1 and 2.
1 and 2 طبعا، لأن هو هتبقى 2 to 2. اوكي، لأن هنا both of them are similar to the parents، يبقى 1 in 2. اوكي. A man who has red-green color blindness has a child with a woman who does not have red-green color blindness. The child has red-green color blindness. The man and woman decide to have another child. What is the percentage probability that their child would have red-green color blindness? Again, you have to try it out. And I will ask Anud. ولا can you try it out كده في scratch paper قدامك يا عنود؟ No need to write it، ولا حابيني أكتبها؟
Okay. No, I'll try it out.
يا ما
no.
فيهاش مشكلة أصلا. بس تذكر إن المان يبقى اكس واي يا جماعة، خلي بالكم. والواي does not carry any alleles. Yes, Mara.
Doctor, يعني حضرتك you told us in the right يعني for the male as like يعني using the sex chromosomes يعني X and Y. But يعني in the question it doesn't specify, so like how would we know?
Because you have taken and you have learned the red-green color blindness, that it's a sex-linked disease أو disorder. أنا قلت لو أنتوا ما درستوهاش هو هيقول لكم بأي طريقة بقى إن الأليل is on the X chromosome، أو هو يقول لي فعلا إن هي sex-linked. بس red-green color blindness is the only sex-linked conditions that you have learned، they will not mention.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Miss,
You're welcome. طلعت إيه يا عنود؟
0%.
طيب وإيه يعني؟ حد عاوزني أجربها معاكم يا جماعة؟ المان is red green color blind. Yes يا مريم.
Doctor, but how do we know if the woman is a carrier or not?
On the child, because that child they had it is the child has red green color blindness. Okay, so this is one of the options. What's the other option? إن ما فيش color blindness عند أي حد.
Okay.
other probabilities يعني. Okay. You can try it once with هو لما يكون عنده red green color blindness يبقى المother for sure is a carrier. عارفة ليه؟ لأن المother الchild inherits the X chromosome from his mother. The male أو the boy inherits the X chromosome from his mother. So when the X chromosome is carrying the recessive allele, so the child أو the child that they had will have red-green color blindness. But the other option for being a male, 0. مفيش. Yes, Yomna.
I got it like 50% if the
طب تعالوا
mother is
نشوف مع بعض، لازم أجربها معاكم بقى. هو بس عايزة an empty page كده، مفيش. ثواني كده أخد معلومة صغيرة. The child has red green color blindness. لا هي مش هتطلع 0 يا عنود على فكرة. ثواني كده.
Yes, Miss, I figured
مش
because
هتطلع 0. مش هتطلع 0. هو المان has red green color blindness. اوكي، يبقى لازم طبعا I read it that he does not have. لا لازم هيطلع طبعا مش 0. لا مثلا هقول x small cy والmother هتبقى heterozygous because the male or the boy inherits the X chromosome from the mother and the Y chromosome from the father. So this and this will give a carrier female. This and this is a colorblind female. ده مع ده يبقى X C Y، وده مع ده يبقى X Y وهنا C. طيب هو بيقول لي the boy استنى the man and فين هي what is the percentage probability that their next child will have red green color blindness ايه البروبابيليتي بتاعه فعندي هنا 2 children may have color blindness يبقى 50% فعلا. Thank you يا يمنى. It was my mistake that I read that the man does not have color blindness. Which type of variation can be inherited? Iman?
B.
B, yes. Environmental factors or their effect is not an inherited effect. Which feature is a leaf adaptation for living in a hot, dry desert? Hala.
A.
Yes. Which term is used to describe an organism that makes its own organic nutrients? Maram.
Producer.
Yes. The diagram shows two pyramids based on food chains in which the producer is a large tree. A large tree. What do the two pyramids represent? Mariam?
P represents biomass, Q represents number.
Yes.
B.
Yes. What's a negative impact on the environment caused by deforestation, Maram?
C.
Yes. The diagram shows the positions of 4 farms and the concentration of nitrate at different points in a river. Which farm is likely to have been using too much fertilizers on its land? طبعا لازم أجيب كله كده. Yes, Michelle.
Farm C.
C. But can you think again? Which farm is likely to have been using too much fertilizers on its farm? Excuse me?
D.
B.
I said D.
D.
Yes, D.
But when they use more nitrates, so the nitrates will leach, or more nitrates will leach in the river. Yani you must choose the highest concentration of nitrate in the river. The village before this part will be the village that uses fertilizers the most. But which one of them is correct? Yani look, nitrate is in the river, not in the village.
So is it B?
Type. I'll explain it again. If there is يعني too much fertilizers used, يبقى في a great concentration of nitrates leaching in the river. So the river will contain a very high nitrate concentration if the village is using very high أو too much fertilizers. يبقى ال concentration of the nitrates in the river following this farm, it will be the highest concentration of nitrates.
C.
طيب, look at the direction of the river flow, the water. Where is the highest concentration of nitrates, Michelle? Between which farms?
A.
Yes, it's farm A, because when farm A uses too much fertilizers, so too much, a high concentration of nitrates will leach in the river, and this is the highest value. يبقى it's farm A that uses the highest amount of fertilizers. You understood, Michelle, or you want me to re-explain
Yes,
it?
I understood. Thank you.
Okay. The diagram shows a bacterial cell containing a plasmid, anode. What is inserted into the plasmid if this cell is to be used for production of insulin?
A.
إيه طبعا. Iman, yeast carries out anaerobic respiration, making carbon dioxide and ethanol as end products. Which end products can be used to make biofuel and bread?
C.